Good morning, friend. Welcome back to Locally Raised. I want to give you a tour of my full chicken coop today. I gave you a tour a couple months ago before the run was completed and before the chickens were moved in, so now I want to show you where things are at. I knew last year when I decided that I wanted to source more food from our backyard that chickens were going to be part of that. It just makes sense. They don't take that much space and they're a great steady source of protein. So I am loving, now that we have the eggs pouring in, we're getting about 9 to 10 a day. I'm so glad that we have these guys or these gals. So I just want to show you our setup, tell you what things I like about this and what things we might still want to work on. So I'm going to start over here with the nesting box. This nesting box opens downward, which is perfect for us. Oh, sorry ladies. I usually come out here in the afternoon. I hadn't thought about the fact that a morning tour meant I would catch these ladies in the act. I'm gonna give them some privacy, but I'll tell you what I like about this.
I've seen many nesting boxes that open from above. Opening downwards means my 5-year-old daughter and my 3-year-old son can reach this, so gathering eggs can be one of their chores. They love it.
So that's the nesting box. Up here you see we've got 2 windows with chicken wire in them. The building plans that we purchased called for putting glass windows in this space. We were just trying to save a little bit of money on the budget. I didn't think glass was necessary for us. We knew that we'd want the windows open all the time because we need ventilation in the coop, and we don't tend to get rains coming this direction, and there's a generous overhang, as you can see. So for these, I don't need anything that closes. I'm happy to have saved a little money on that feature and just have that wire mesh that allows ventilation. Coming around to the back side here, there is nothing special to see. I think I might like to clear some grass here and plant some kale and some greens. I mean, I think it would be effortless if I could just plant some hardy greens that I could throw in the coop every time I'd come down. That'd be a nice treat for them, and we don't really need grass right up against the coop anyways. Here on the front side, we have another window. For this window, we use that wire mesh, but we did give it a door because we do tend to get rains coming from this direction. Plus, there's not, that generous overhang here, so we do occasionally close that door if we know that rain's coming. We haven't been through a winter in this coop yet. I imagine we might need to close the door sometimes if we have really driving icy winds. So I like the flexibility here. If there's any sort of intense weather coming, we can just shut that door. One of the other things I like about this design is that instead of the coop having a pitched roof line and then there being a flat line for the run, the coop and the run peak towards each other. So it's going to be really easy. Well, it's been really easy for rainwater to run off of it. And like I said, we haven't been through a winter in this coop yet, but I'm hopeful that snow also won't be as prone to accumulating on top of the roof. Eventually, I might want to set up a rainwater collection system here. We were talking about maybe trying to set up some barrels beneath the eaves and even maybe work out a system where that rainwater collection went straight into a waterer for the chickens, because we want to make this as hands-off as possible. Let me show you inside the run and then I'll open up the coop for you. I'm actually going to let these girlies out. They often spend a couple hours in the day free ranging. Go on, ladies. Hey, girlies. So inside the run, you can see that we're using leaves as coop bedding, as bedding for the run. Over the summer, we used grass clippings in here. Every time my husband John mowed the grass, we dump all the clippings in here. And now we're switching over to leaves. He has, forget the name of it, he has some sort of shredder that will shred the leaves really finely. And so I really like having our yard waste become the bedding in here. It's perfect because it's a free source of bedding and it uses what we have around us really well. And the chickens like to forage in it. I see them digging in those grass clippings and in the leaves, and they find little bugs and things in there. So it's just ideal to me. Over here is our feeder. This is my favorite sort of splurge we did for the coop. So this feeder is a Treadle feeder. This is from RentACoop. So when the chickens come and step on this, it opens up and allows them to access their food. The feeder can hold a week's worth of food, so I love making things as hands-off as possible. And also it's really useful because it can't be accessed by pests or moisture, so we don't worry about anything but chickens getting into our food. It's even easy for us to go on a vacation when we know that they can have a week's worth of food without somebody stopping in. We have somebody come and gather eggs, top off their water every few days. That has made our load a lot lighter. So opposite from the feeder here, we've got their ramp and their door. We had planned to put an electric solar powered door in there just to, again, make our lives easier. But at that point in this building process, we just got tired of spending money on things. Throughout these summer and fall months, we've just left this door open all the time, and it has not been an issue. We haven't had any critters break into the coop, so it's not a problem. As the winter months come on, I think I will start closing this every day. It has just a simple latch closure. Well, hi, girly. Let's see, that's Brown. That's Autumn. Autumn, show them how it's done. So, like I said, this is a simple latch closure. It might be something that we update down the road. I think it would be nice eventually to just not even have to think about this in the winter. So, you know, maybe in a year or so, if we're in the mood to do a little extra work, we'll put in an electric door here. Down here is their water. This is something someone gave us, so it was free for us. It's just a 5-gallon bucket that they added 3 spouts to convert into a watering system. I like that this holds a couple days worth of water because, again, that makes things hands-off for us. And I like that it doesn't sit on the ground because so much dirt just gets kicked into a watering system that sits on the ground. But I still might at some point want to upgrade this. I find a little bit of dirt gets kicked into it, and I would love a watering system that would hold a week's worth of water at a time. If we could just once a week feed and water, that's a perfect scenario to me. So maybe eventually we'll get some rainwater collection system in a barrel that can continuously feed into maybe a nipple feeder that we put into the side of the run. If anybody's done anything like that, let me know if you love it and what's worked for you. All right, so we're leaving the run. Let me show you inside the coop. Before I show you inside the coop, I want to tell you about the deep litter system that we're using. When I decided that I wanted to keep chickens, I started reading the book, The Small Scale Poultry Flock by Harvey Ussery, and he's the one who came up with this system of deep litter for coop bedding and for the chicken run bedding. He does that in the run as well. So if you're not familiar with deep litter, let me tell you how it works. Traditionally, a couple inches of bedding go into a coop. In the deep litter system, you put 7 or 8 inches of bedding in, and then the chicken's droppings plus the bedding become their own composting system. The droppings are the green matter, I think, and then in my case, pine shavings are the brown matter for composting so that the manure breaks down on its own. The smell is managed, the moisture is managed through all that deep bedding. Every now and then, if you notice any moisture building up, you toss some shavings or some bedding on top of the existing bedding, and you just keep building that kind of lasagna type layers until it's time for a clean out. Then once or twice a year, you clean out the bedding and start over again with another 7 or 8 inches. I've been using deep litter for a couple months now, and I love it. I will keep using it. The things I love about it, hi there. The things I love about it, it's quick. I really do very little to work on this bedding. Like I said, 1 or 2 times a year I plan to do a clean out, and then I also occasionally toss on some shavings. Another thing I love about it is that chicken manure is something I want on my garden. I know that my garden's going to love it, but you can't put manure directly onto a garden. It's too hot. It needs to be broken down. So with this deep litter system, the manure can get broken down, and then once I do clean this out, which I plan to do about next week, I'm going to rake it straight into a wheelbarrow and I can put it on my garden because it's already been breaking down with the balance that it needs from those pine shavings. To me, the only drawback from deep litter that I've found so far is that the chickens don't scratch in their bedding. Harvey Ussery says that they are prone to scratching in their bedding and that turns over the bedding so that the manure gets worked into the bedding so it can break down. I have not found that my chickens have scratched, and I've heard from others that theirs don't either. So every couple weeks when I see droppings build up, I do have to take a rake and I just kind of turn over the bedding a little bit and That way things get mixed in and can compost. It still, to me, seems like a lot less work than regularly changing out a thin layer of bedding, so I'm happy with it. So let me show you inside here. Like I said, it's been a couple weeks since I have tossed on any new shavings or turned things over. So yes, there is some buildup and some grossness in there, but it's not too bad for having not been touched in about 2 weeks. And again, this is the same bedding I put in several months ago when we put the chickens in the coop for the first time. I'll show you the roosts. We've got 3 of them here. Most of the chickens roost on this one, which is why there's more underneath it. And you can see the nesting boxes there. Everything's been raised up 7 inches. Here's, whoa. Okay, this chickie wants to be in right now. Here's the screws where next week when I clean this out, John will unscrew that and take out this board, and then I'll just be able to rake out that bedding into a wheelbarrow and put it on my garden. So that's our complete setup. I'll put a link down below for the building plans for the coop and the run. They're plans that you can purchase. They're not our design, but we like sharing things that have worked well for us. So if you're interested, that's down below. I'll also put a link down below for that feeder if you're interested in that. And I'll put a link for the Harvey Ussery book, which has been really helpful to me. I'm curious if you've tried deep litter and there's anything you liked or haven't liked. Let me know how it's worked out for you. And if you've got any amazing systems that make your watering super hands-off, I think the watering system's the one thing I haven't honed in on yet. Anyhow, we are so happy that we've added chickens to our little 1-acre homestead, and I'm not gonna go back now. It's going to be our own eggs from here on out. So thanks for joining me today, and I look forward to sharing more with you next week.